In the dark shadows, in the white cold, fearlessly we search for knowledge new and old. We drink the strong spirits and read ancient tomes, the order of the Abercast. We are the brave and bold.
The Ages begins with the shocking story of Cain and Abel and the journey of violence and revenge spanning thousands of years, following Cain through his cursed life from an ancient invasion of malicious angels to the American Revolutionary War. A masterful, compelling journey through time, The Ages delves deep into arcane knowledge, myth, and legend. The art is stunning, and the story takes you on a journey where mortals, immortals, angels, and demons are all forced to deal with the folly that is God's creation. It's a beautifully dark and gritty ride through history. This 4-part story follows the astrological procession of the ages and how each 2,500-year age parallels major changes in the development of Earth's inhabitants. Cain's blasphemous struggle with the divine and sacred tyrant God will create and crumble empires, shape history, and cause a cosmic cataclysm.
My name would be Mud. My FBI career would be over. And I might even be in danger if the stories coming from Little Rock were true. About how so many enemies of the Clintons ended up having fatal accidents. Gary Aldrich, special FBI agent assigned to the White House.
The Abercast. Occult. History. Conspiracy. Violence.
All right, I'm your home slice. I'm your home slice, John. This is Abercast. Let's get into this real quick. I got an iTunes review. Thank you very much, Zorley, for leaving the 4-star review. Deserves a listen, and maybe you'll catch it. John seems to be talking about things of which I'm interested, but it's super hard for me to keep up with him. I do not know what to tell you, John. I've only listened to 2 shows. I like what you're talking about. I just don't have the background in any of it, so I'm confused. But I like you. You're funny. I'm also adding to Josh that you've got me interested, and I'll be listening. Well, thank you very much, Zorley. I appreciate it. And I do know that I'm hard to keep up with, and I frequently try to slow myself down and add context to things that I'm talking about to help in situations such as these. Right now, I don't understand who comes in this room and moves these knobs around when I'm not here. Who does it? Okay, we're still setting up for Revenge in a Saloon Called Hell, and we're getting ready to start setting up for the Brass City. So those will both be pending and available very soon indeed. There's a couple ways to support the show. like you to support the show by rating and reviewing, like Zorley did. If not that, I would also like you to do some posting about it on your social media, or just word of mouth. Tell a friend about it, whatever. Those are both two great ways. If you don't want to give me any money or you don't want to spend any money, those are two great ways to support the show. And just let me know that you're out there. So please let me know that you're out there. If you want to drop some dimes, the awesomest way to support the show is to buy some comic books. So probably if you like to listen to the things that we're talking about on the show, you like the stories that I tell in the comic books anyway. So that's the best way for me to support the show. However, the other ones are great too. So just do whatever you can do. I gotta really All right, so last week we talked about Revelation's 12 sign and the sign of Jonah. We had 2 episodes last week. 3 episodes the week before, 2 episodes last week. I'm only going to do 1 episode this week, I swear to Christ. So we did the Revelation's 12 sign and the sign of Jonah, just a few signs of the end times out there. If you're still out there, if you haven't gotten raptured, I'm sorry. Or congratulations, whichever. No matter what happens, I'm still probably going to be here this week. So even though I'm recording this on Friday, the day before the rapture starts, I'll be here with you, bros. Keep tuning in, and I'll still be here. I've sort of have been threatening about doing this episode for a long time. Probably since the Pizzagate episode, way back with Martise. And this episode will tie into a bunch of stuff that we've talked about. It'll also tie into episode 52, which was the last episode of the 9/11 episodes, which basically was how we didn't kill this fucking guy before we could have, this Osama bin Laden. So why now, you ask? Why are we doing this now? Why do I have to sit through this shit now? That's a very good question, my friend. Very good question. And the answer is this. The answer is Hillary just dropped this new book about why she didn't get elected. We're also going to do it as a retrospective look at the bullet we all dodged last November. Like the fucking Matrix. Like we folded in half the wrong way like Neo to dodge those bullets like the fucking Matrix. And also, with any luck, with any kind of luck, these Clintons will probably never be relevant again. With this book tour, maybe this will be the last that we've heard from them and have to put up with them. Also, just a throw in, this Barry Seal movie with Tom Cruise is about to drop, and they're not gonna. I can't understand how they're gonna do a Barry Seal movie without talking about Mina, Arkansas, and the Bill Clinton connection, so let's just hope that's in there. So I want you to mix yourself up a gin jihad. Do you know what that is? It's if you take a mason jar and you put like a whole tray of ice cubes in there, and then you throw 2 shots of gin in, and you cut up a lemon or a lime. I'm currently rocking with a lemon right now. Fill the rest up with tonic. It's more of like a formula than a drink recipe. It's a formula for mass distraction. So that's what we're doing tonight. So mix yourself up a gin jihad and hold tight. We're going to take a long, dark ride tonight, my friends. We're going to take a long, dark ride. We're going to start at Little Rock, Arkansas, and we're going to end... Actually, we're going to, and in my notes it says we're going to end in Washington, but that's not true. We're actually going to end in Russia. We're going to end in Russia with Vladimir Putin, everybody. So you're going to like, what the fuck is he talking about? Well, let's go. Let's get into this already, will you? Here we go.
The Ages begins with the shocking story of Cain and Abel.
Oh, wait, hold on. A word of warning before I get going. This stuff is labyrinthian, so you might want to grab a pen and a paper just to jot some notes down. I'm going to try to be, we're going to be bouncing from like the Rose Law Firm to like the Chinese and the Lippo Group to cattle futures and land deals. So I'm going to try to keep it in some kind of clear and chronological order, but the edges on a lot of this stuff touch, and so it's going to get a little bit messy. It's like when you're at a picnic and you have a potato salad and some baked beans and a burger, and like your burger buns get soggy because the baked beans and the potato salad are kind of touching it. That's kind of like that's what's going to happen. It's all going to get muddied and gross, and your buns are going to get wet. Everybody, that's what I'm saying. Also, for a lot of this is aimed at folks who have no memory. Or these guys are just like, I'll hear this. They just dragged poor old Bill Clinton on TV and humiliated him for getting a blowjob or for cheating on his wife or having an extramarital affair or whatever. Before I weigh in on all this stuff, just give me a few minutes. Before you switch this off and you're just like, oh, God, here we go. Just give me a few fucking minutes, all right? Because it's not just because he just got a blowjob. Like, I mean, how can I hold that against him? But there's more to it. And when we get going here, we're gonna dump back into the spot, but we're gonna skip all the anti-war, all the anti-U.S. demonstrations that Bill was doing in England during the Vietnam War. We're gonna skip all the communist connections that he had while he was at school. We're even going to skip the draft dodging via Colonel Holmes and defrauding the ROTC. We're going to skip all that. We're going to get actually into the meats and potatoes right away after this. All right, so let's get a basis. What? Mother.
Stigmata Studios.
Let's get some basis here. William Jefferson Clinton is the 50th Attorney General of Arkansas from January 1977 to 79. He was the 40th Governor of Arkansas in 79 to 81, and the 42nd Governor of Arkansas from January 83 to December 92. Governor Clinton signs legislation, Act 1062, creating something called ADFA. It means the Arkansas Development of Finance Authority. It's a low interest. It deals with handing out low interest bond loans. Its stated purpose was to fund building churches, schools, and small entrepreneurs, creating jobs. What was really happening is that the taxpayers' funds were being funneled out to political donors, friends, and Hillary's law firm, the Rose Law Firm. Its decision-making process was written in the law to be secretive, and as we'll see why in a minute, every ADFA loan was ultimately signed off by Bill. Okay, so here let's look at a real life thing, and this comes from Larry Nichols, not to be confused with Terry Nichols, who worked with Tim McVeigh. This is Larry Nichols, who was a whistleblower. Once Bill got out of Arkansas and into Washington, this guy started talking about all kinds of crazy shit. So this is what happens. Say you applied for a $1 million loan. You'd have to get your application processed by the Rose Law Firm for a fee of $50,000. So let's look at a real world case. The first loan ADFA issued for a company called Parkometer. This dude named Seth Ward owned Parkometer, and the treasurer of Parkometer was a guy named Webster Hubble. Webb was also Seth Ward's son-in-law. Webster Hubble's day job was a senior partner at the Rose Law Firm. Oh, you could see the webs already starting to interconnect, my friends. He's the guy who prepared, reviewed, submitted Parkometer's application. So let me rewind this for a second. Webster Hubbell also drafted the legislation of Act 1062, creating ADFA, and he introduced it to Congress. So this application was reviewed. It was signed by Webb Hubbell and Hillary Clinton. This is not the only thing that Webster Hubbell and Hillary Clinton collaborated on. I submit Exhibit A. Google search Webster Hubbell and then Google search Chelsea Clinton. Clearly Webster Hubbell. There's some Clinton. No, hold on, wait. I'm mixing it up. Clearly, Chelsea Clinton has some Webster Hubbell DNA. That weird slacky lip that he's got. She's got the same fucking slacky lip. This is her whole fucking thing. Like, she's never met this guy and been like, "Hey man, you seem pretty familiar to me," and he's like, "I don't know," like slappy lips flapping all around the place everywhere. Hillary's just like, "I don't know, nothing. No, does anyone want a gobblerito?" Okay, I already did the rewind. Okay, this all sounds really fishy to me. Okay, so let me rewind for a minute. Webb Hubbell drafted the legislation of 1062, creating ADFA, and he also introduced it into Congress. This all sounds really fishy to me, but wait, there's more. Like one of these OxyClean commercials. I have my blue button-down shirt on. Wait, there's more. Webster Hubbell was in charge of the Conflict of Interest Board at the Rose Law Firm. So this fucking guy investigated himself in matters where taxpayers of Arkansas's money was concerned. So why was Parkometer so important? What was Parkometer manufacturing? They got a $2.8 billion loan from the taxpayers of Arkansas that was never paid back. So what did Parkometer manufacture? They actually built retrofit nose cone compartments for small aircrafts that were being shipped out to a small airport just outside of Mina, Arkansas. Dun, dun, dun. What were those nose cones being used for? What was at the airport in Mina, Arkansas? Who was to benefit? I don't know. We're going to get on all that. So what was happening in the Mina airport? I'll tell you what's happening. Tons of drugs were being smuggled in, and ADFA was being used to clean this money. $100 million a month. This Barry Seal movie that's coming out has to address this. It has to. First of all, Barry Seal was this fat fucking baloney-looking piece of shit, and they got him played by, obviously, Tom Hanks. Or not Tom Hanks, Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is playing this baloney-looking motherfucking Barry Seal. But Barry Seal is this real dude, and he was in the CIA, and his job was to smuggle cocaine into the country. And how he would do it is he would come from South America, he'd fly across the Gulf, and he would land in Mina, Arkansas, with planes full of coke. They said there's some people that say that they paid people off with just buckets full of coke. Just fill your bucket full of coke. There's no money, there's no record or transaction of it. Just take a bucket full of coke home with you. Everything will be fine. We're going to get into that a little bit with this Dan Lasseter character, but that's the amount of money being about a dope being smuggled. I don't want to say dope. That sounds silly. Coke being smuggled in. So this movie's going to have to deal with Mina. It's going to have to deal with it. It's going to have to deal with Mina, and it's going to have to deal with New Orleans. But the problem is they didn't. all the money that was coming in, they didn't have any way to deal with it. So here, we're going to get into it. ADFA dealt in bond loans. Like I said, it was low interest, public guaranteed bond loans. So it was being paid by the taxpayers. And they never banked in Arkansas. They sent their funds to Atlanta. They sent their funds to Florida. They sent their funds to Chicago. And they sent their funds to Citicorp in New York. And as we all know, Citicorp sends it overseas in the Middle East. Not until 1989 did they start banking in Arkansas. So this guy named Dan Lassiter, he was a businessman, he was a pimp, he was a pedophile, and he was a cokehead. He was also like Bill Clinton's best friend. He's a guy, he went to jail with Roger Clinton, Bill Clinton's brother, and ultimately he was pardoned by Bill when he got out. They sent him to a low security prison. This is a guy, I'm going to get into this. He turned out high schoolers for coke and made him into prostitutes for his business partners. So this is a guy, he's turning out 14-year-olds for cocaine, and he spends like 5 months in like a low security hotel, and the second he gets out, Bill pardons him. You know, because Bill's a feminist. You know, and Bill's hard on crime. You know, and he wants to save our children's future, so he's gonna fucking pardon this guy. Not only are they parking at this airstrip, this airport in Mina, this little airport in Mina, but there was parts of the like the redneck countryside and stuff that's been cleared. And they had planes that were illegally modified to have like side sliding doors put in them. It was against the FCAA, where they would just like open them up and like just kick parachuted packages out, you know, and they would land. Like low level flights, you know, all the lights were turned off, and they would just kick them off when they like got over the clearings or whatever. This is where the dead bodies started showing up. These two like 12-year-old kids show up dead. The story is they saw these this drop, like these drops happen, and they wind up dead. These fucking poor kids, they wind up dead. They're stabbed to death, and then they're put on train tracks to get hacked into many parts by these trains. And then like this guy, we're gonna find out this dude. We're gonna get into it later, so I'll just say this right now. The official story is they fell asleep on the train tracks in the middle of the night. So more and more talk about suicides could come up. I think I'm going to stay away from all these suicided people, which I should have probably got a better cold open, because the cold open's all about like the suicided people that the Clintons know. But so I might stay away from them. I don't know. We're going to talk more and more about this medical examiner. So if we do talk about it, we're going to talk more and more about this medical examiner, Fahmy Malek, who's quite famous in Arkansas for declaring cause of death of a decapitated man as natural causes. This guy's a piece of work. You would be like, well, dudes, I'm really stressed out. I'm just, I'm stressed out. So yeah, like I made a mistake. All right, Troopergate happened. While he was still the Attorney General of Arkansas, there was rumors and gossip about his wild philandering. George Craig of the London Sunday Times once wrote that Bill Clinton had an almost psychotic inability to control his zipper. This is true. And this was his move. He would just drop trow and be like, go ahead and suck it. This is a testimony of Paula Jones in so many words. So I just want to like explain the pathology of someone that's like that. Like in Paula Jones's case, he went to try to kiss her and she was like, no, like I really should leave. And he'd be like, oh, come on. And he'd like cross her neck and she'd be like, no, like, let's go. I really got to leave. I'm not going to stay here for this. And he just dropped his pants and was like, come on, won't you just suck it? And then when she ran out of the hotel room, he followed her out there and was like, hey, it's very important that we just keep this between ourselves. Like, imagine that's your move, dudes, guys. Imagine that's your move. Even if you were the governor of Arkansas and you're like, hey, come on. Don't you just want to suck it just a little bit? Like, let's go. So, I mean, it's like his thing is he'd expose himself faster than Anthony Weiner, which is funny. I totally even missed that connection. Like, he's not even going to come up later. Or Carlos Danger. This guy, Bill Clinton, he exposes his rod faster than Fukushima. Like, he's out there just dropping his pants. Testimony of Paula Jones, yeah, anyhow, in the 90s, he finally got out of Arkansas, and there was a slew of Arkansas state troopers who started stepping forward. They were all, today we call them whistleblowers, unless it's against Bill Clinton, the Democratic, king. Like, there's, like, the God Emperor, FDR, and then there's, like, Bill Clinton. These Arkansas state troopers started stepping forward, telling wild tales. Hundreds of pay hours of overtime, gas, cars, paid by Arkansas taxpayers so that these state troopers could chauffeur Clinton around to his dalliances, waiting for him in parking lots of shady motels. Having to wade out into crowds of hundreds of people getting phone numbers and arranging hookups. Troopergate, this whole Troopergate thing actually impacted my creative process when I was doing the Assassination Covenant. Like, I actually made like a squad of cops that were shady, and the whole thing was based on this Troopergate thing. It wasn't all about pussies and stuff, or like getting blowjobs and Jaguars in airports. It wasn't like that, but it wasn't about that. It was more like action based. Like, that's when I was still doing like straight up action comics or whatever. So, yeah, but that was there. So around this time, we start getting rape accusations. They were like hammered in the media. Like, people, instead of talking about the awful things these women were talking about, instead it was how shitty these chicks were. And like, this is when you get like not Jimmy Hart, the Mouth of the South. Who's the fucking guy's name? The Raging Cajun. He was in that Adam Sandler movie. Fuck, I can't remember his name, but it was like everyone thinks he's so smart and like witty and whatever, but this is the guy who was like, well, if you drag $1 through a trailer park, you're gonna find someone that wants to suck Bill Clinton's dick or whatever. But there's this Juanita Broderick comes out and she's like, no, it wasn't just womanizing. He didn't come on to me hard. Like, he wasn't trying to get me to suck his dick. Like, he fucking whipped her ass and raped her. And this has been out there forever, and everyone attacks it. And at the time this started coming out, at the White House actually had a bimbo eruption squad led by Hillary Clinton, and they would not come at these things honorably. They would come at them like lawyers, just You got to just destroy the credibility of your witness. That's what these fucking people are. They're soulless fucking just lawyers, and they just destroy everything in their path. And it was called the Bimbo Eruption Squad. I mean, does that tell you that they're interested in getting to the truth? No. And there was literally these whistleblowing Arkansas state troopers said that there were hundreds of these women left in the wake. These destroyed human beings left in the wake of Bill Clinton's crooked dick charging through their lives. So these guys, they're stuck. They thought they were going to be like protecting human beings and catching speeders, and instead they wind up becoming pimps. And that's sad for them. And it's also shitty that they thought it was okay enough for them to stay in there and only talked out about it when this fucking vampire got out of their state. I would have loved to see some fucking legal action happen when they were there and they could have fucking done something. But I don't know. Am I being a little bit too hard? All right, so we're in 1984. Roger Clinton gets the FBI, or who, it wasn't the FBI. I don't know who it was. Some Arkansas state, whatever, gets a video of Roger Clinton scoring coke, and he's scoring coke for his brother, and he's like, "I gotta get me some for my brother Bill," you know. Because he's got a nose like a vacuum cleaner. No one's ever like, who's this fucking guy? Who's Bill? Whatever. You know, it's just a thing. Everyone's got a brother. Through the years, here we go. We're going to rewind a little bit. Whitewater, the Clintons form a partnership with their friends, the McDougalls, and they form the Whitewater land deal. In 79, Clintons, they bought a big swath of property that goes across this thing called Whitewater Estates. And right across from where it was developed, there was a kind of part where there's river came through. So they donated this parcel of land that was on a river to the Arkansas Fish and Wildlife Department on one condition. The condition is that they had to build a boat ramp on the property. So a ramp was built. And on top of that, they built an access road from Highway 101 to the river, and then they built the ramp there. A ramp was built, and the taxpayers paved the access road so the construction could be done, and that was the way to get the ramp. That was a way to build the ramp. The access road came from Highway 101. So he just used his power to raise the value of his speculation. And then he just started selling these properties with the clause. There was a late fee, there was a clause. If you were late over 30 days, it would default. You would get evicted, and you would not recoup any of the equity that you paid in. It was predatory towards the elderly. More than half the people who ever bought Whitewater land lost their land and their equity over $500,000, and they never got. Oh, some people paid over $500,000, and they never wound up getting the deed to their property. It was like a restaurant. They were turning over these property. They were turning over these estates. They were selling them to one person. When they went 30 days into default, they were kicking them off, keeping their equity, and selling it to another person. One guy actually that was paying attention and he was involved in the investigation said that this was the Whitewater scandal that people should have been paying attention to. And I agree. I mean, they were. I mean, I don't know. Like, I actually have like a little bit of a real estate background, and I'm not sure I've heard of any place that you would get your equity back, but I don't have any experience in like condos or planned unit developments or like it seems like this might be like a lease kind of situation, like a paid it's like a rent-a-center you pay to own, and they're putting money in, and instead of getting their able to, they should have been holding all this money, all this equity in escrow. Instead, they were just done. You're out. Next, get some fucking next person in here. Man, this is shitty. We get this this situation where Hillary starts buying cattle futures. It was a speculation market. The mercantile exchange rules say that you have to open your account with $12,000. Mrs. Clinton, the First Lady of Arkansas, is able to open her account with $1,000. Within 5 days, 10/11/1978, her first transaction, she netted over a $5,000 gain. It was actually $5,300 and something. Within 8 days, there was another $7,000 gain. And at days after that, there was another $7,000 gain. She got on the market in May, June, July. She got out of the market in July 1979, and she had turned her $1,000 into $100,000 with no experience in the cattle futures. There was a 10,000% return in her money. People would go on to make people would go on to study this, to study what she had done. One guy was like the probability of her actually doing this was like the probability of it would be like if the Dead Sea Scrolls were on the state building steps in Little Rock, Arkansas on this day. Her broker actually got one of the harshest punishments ever. Like, he got like a 3-year suspension. That doesn't seem like a harsh punishment. It seems like there could be way harsher punishments. But she would go on to testify later that, like, I don't think that no one ever gave me special consideration or whatever. It's like the biggest lie in the world at that point in time. There's more. Believe me, folks, there's more bigger lies coming up very fast. But there was there was a magazine of economic studies that ran computer simulations of her trades, and were like the possibility that she did not cheat was like 20 to like 8,080,653. I just made that number up, but it doesn't matter when you get to these fucking sorts of numbers. Like, it's an astronomical amount. Like, just think like you didn't have any experience or whatever. You just like, hey, I totally broke the rules to get in, and now like you just got to give me money. And that's what happened. Like, that's what happened within, like, I don't know, under most of a year or whatever. $100,000 in fucking cattle futures. It's just it's bananas. So I'm looking at this, and I still have a ton of stuff. I think I might have to make this into 2 episodes, guys. And I don't know if I have it in me. Like, I still have, like, literally pages to do. And it's getting long into this dark night. All right, so, well, I'm going to wrap this up. I made my decision. I'm going to turn this into a 2 episode. So there's 3 episodes 2 weeks ago, 2 episodes last week, and there'll be 2 episodes this week. So, you guys think, if you guys think that I just pour myself a drink and talk for an hour or so, you're like, well, why do I need to appreciate this? Like, the amount of research that goes into these things is big, and sometimes it gets away from me, like it did this evening. I don't know. So there's some great ways to support the show. There's word of mouth for sure. There's rate and review on iTunes. That helps, and that's, I mean, literally, if I was plugging my finger in the dam, that would be the way that I would ask you guys to do it. And it's awesome because it's free. Like, it only takes you guys a couple seconds to do it, and it will help me out so much. I'll give you a shout out on the show. I'll read your thing, whatever you had to say about it. Like, you know, Zorley only gave me 4 stars. I think I deserve a little bit more than that, especially if you're only listening to 2 episodes. However, I will take anything. I will take it, and I will read it, and I will give it my utmost attention. So there you go. And then also you can buy some comic books. I gave you a lot of great options to buy some comic books. You can go to stigmatastudios.com, buy some comic books there. That's the best way because it gets the money flowing. And I'm not cheating anyone out of earthquake relief. Like, we're going to get it to next week. Or later this week, I should say. So, yeah. So there's that. Go to society-13.com. If you're wondering what to listen to next, you don't know, I would recommend Queens of NC-17. I would recommend The Pop-Off with Martise. I would recommend Kettle Whistle Radio with Dave. I would recommend The Lift. The Lift. Oh, I'm doing some artwork for the Halloween episode of The Wicked Library. I'm super excited about that. You can find all that stuff there. So there's that. Yeah, there's that, everybody. That's all. That's where you can go to. That's what you can get with.
Vienna, 1683. Today is September 11th, 1683. The mighty army of the Ottoman Empire, led by the savage and radical terror troops of the Dar al-Harb, surround the walled city of Vienna and begin a siege to break the golden apple of Europe and kill, enslave, or convert all of its inhabitants. The valiant citizens stand against the tyrannical army with the steadfast leadership of Count Ernst Rudiger von Stromberg, the help of the ever-living rebel Cyrus the Dead Guy, and the hopes of the faraway King Jan Sobieski III and his army of flying hussars. The Vienna 1683 comic is available right now from Stigmata Studios at stigmatastudios.com and on indieplanet.us. The Non-Standard Squad, 1944. World War II. 3 weird American soldiers are on a search and rescue mission into the oldest and darkest regions of Europe. A cursed, ever-living warrior, Cyrus the Dead Guy. An experimental warbot, Sergeant Lane McCord. An all-red axe, mysterious rogue with a demon-possessed arm come face to face with an army of magically corrupted machine-obsessed elves, a magic hammer-wielding Norse Ubermensch, and a Nazi wizard who is a member of the ancient Dark Order of the Shining Hexagon. The Non-Standard Squad 1944 comic is available right now from Stigmata Studios at stigmatastudios.com and on indieplanet.us.
I just got to flip to the end here. Yeah. And just remind everyone, stigmatastudios.com. You can find all the links to my social media. I've been posting a lot of good stuff up on Instagram, so if you guys want to hook up with me on social media, there's a great place to start. That's where you can go to find everything. And I don't have to tell you all my whatevers and handles. Just go there. So we're gonna end this episode with a song from this band that's not around anymore. It's called Level SD. I'm not sure what song we're gonna listen to just yet. I gotta walk through memory lane for a second to find it. But anyhow, social media, stigmatastudios.com. Buy some comic books. Leave some rating reviews. Society-13.com. I think I've covered it all. And stay tuned next. Like, I've gotten us all the way up to like where Bill's going to become president. Next is going to be all the shit that happens after that. And it's a wild ride, guys. Like, listen to episode 56. It's going to be a big one. Like a big one. A big and crooked, tilted, weirdly off to one side one. Do you know what I'm talking about? I don't know. I'm not sure if you do. All right. This is the band Level SD, and the name of the song is Parliament. Thank you guys for listening. I fucking love you all. Please stay tuned. We're going to do the next episode right away. It's going to be posted probably the same fucking day, so let's just go. Let's just get onto it. Keep your fucking Clinton level up. And again, thank you guys for spending this time with me, this hour of your day, of your week, of your life, listening to this bullshit. So here we go. Listen, my boys, Level SD from years ago. This is called Parliament. Yeah, no, come on. Do it. Do it. Just fucking do it. There we go. There we go. Okay, everybody. We love you. Here you go.
Again. Things I choose to believe, every taste of emptiness has made me emptiness. Before that's not the intrigue. Let's all you think you will control every aspect of me and put me down and show the way you free, so I'm free until you continue on squeezing the